Margaret and Harold Whitmore had lived a simple life in their small town for over 5 decades. Their days were filled with routine. Morning tea on the porch, tending to their little garden, and reminiscing about the past. They had never been wealthy, but they had never struggled either. That was until one fateful afternoon when their world was turned upside down. It started with a phone call. Margaret picked up the receiver, expecting to hear the cheerful voice of their granddaughter. Instead, a cold, mechanical voice informed her that their savings account had been flagged for fraudulent activity. "This is a serious matter, Mrs. Whitmore," the voice on the other end warned. "Your bank records indicate involvement in illegal transactions. If you do not cooperate, legal action will be taken immediately." Margaret's heart pounded. Harold, sitting across from her, frowned as she put the call on speaker. "What illegal transactions?" Harold asked, his voice steady but laced with confusion. "We barely withdraw more than a few $100s at a time." The caller ignored his protest. "Sir, we have evidence of large sums of money being transferred in and out of offshore accounts. As a result, your assets have been frozen. A court hearing is being scheduled." Margaret's hands trembled. Their entire life savings gone. Before they could even process what was happening, 2 men in dark suits arrived at their doorstep. The men, claiming to be from the Financial Crimes Division, informed them that they were under investigation for money laundering. Within hours, the Whitmores found themselves in the back of a government car, being driven to an undisclosed location. The couple was terrified. They had never broken the law in their entire lives. But now they were being treated like criminals. Days passed in interrogation rooms. The authorities bombarded them with questions about bank accounts they had never heard of, transactions they had never made. The couple insisted on their innocence, but no one seemed to listen, until the truth surfaced. One night, a young investigator named Daniel sat across from them. He had spent hours combing through their financial records and had found an anomaly. "This doesn't make sense," he muttered, rubbing his temples. "The transactions began just a few weeks ago, all linked to a compromised bank system. These accounts were never yours." The realization hit him hard. The Whitmores had been mistaken for criminals due to a bank error. The real fraudsters had used their identities to funnel millions through dummy accounts, and the bank had wrongfully blamed them. Daniel immediately alerted his superiors. Within hours, the bank's legal team swooped in, realizing the catastrophic mistake they had made. The next morning, Margaret and Harold were released with profuse apologies, but the damage had already been done. Their names had been smeared across the news as criminals. At first, the bank tried to cover up their mistake, but the media caught wind of the scandal. A viral post on social media exposed the truth: an elderly couple wrongly accused and humiliated due to the bank's negligence. Outrage spread like wildfire. The bank was forced to compensate the Whitmores. A settlement was reached, a sum so large it would change their lives forever. Suddenly, Margaret and Harold were millionaires. Their once quiet existence became the center of media attention. News outlets hounded them for interviews. They went from living a modest life to being the talk of the town. Strangers cheered for them. Businesses offered them free services, and their once empty mailbox overflowed with letters of support. But with wealth came new problems. People they hadn't spoken to in years resurfaced, asking for loans and handouts. A few suspicious figures lurked near their property. The quiet, peaceful life they had once known was slipping away. One evening, as they sat in their newly renovated home, Margaret turned to Harold. "Do we ever really want this?" Harold exhaled, staring at the pile of unopened letters from lawyers and investors. "No, but maybe we can turn it into something good." And so, the Whitmores made a decision. They donated a large portion of their newfound wealth to causes they believed in: shelters, hospitals, and charities for the elderly. They set up a fund to help others who had been wrongfully accused, just as they had. Soon, the media frenzy died down. The people looking to take advantage of them disappeared, and the Whitmores found themselves back where they had always been, on their porch, sipping tea, watching the sunset. Only now, they did so knowing they had made a difference. Their story remained legendary, a tale of mistaken identity, injustice, and an unexpected fortune. A reminder that even in the darkest moments, fate had a way of setting things right. And with that thought, Harold smiled, took Margaret's hand, and whispered, "Let's enjoy what we have while we still can."